This is a weird day.
It's a very weird day here at the Glenn Beck program. You know what? May I say, Pat and I were talking yesterday about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I'm a little upset about this. It's, what is it, the Snow White and the Huntsman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and eventually, like in all Snow Whites, they run into the Seven Dwarfs. And they don't, apparently the dwarves aren't named what they are in the Disney film. Did Disney do that? Is he the one that made him dopey and sleepy and all that? Mm-hmm. And they weren't that before, right?
No.
And what I noticed when we were watching the movie was that, and it struck me so much that I said to my wife, those aren't real dwarfs or midgets or little people or whatever they like to be called. Did you notice
that demeans them maybe a little bit,
mm-hmm. But it's not that far off. I mean, I'm not sure what the correct term is today. I said those aren't real little people; they're actual full-size people, and I wonder why they use
full-size people.
Yeah,
this is getting worse, isn't it?
Well,
it demeans them a little bit,
but it's not that far off.
No, and they're only little anyway, so. You're just demeaning little people a little bit. So there's not that much.
Wow.
You're not doing that much. Is that right?
Oh, man.
Explanation of demeaning demeans
I would
them a little
pay
bit.
money for a swarm of little people on you right now. Like bees.
Well, you're just jealous because I have over 600 messages on my phone.
Really?
From old friends from high school that I haven't heard from in 30 years. All of them love the new CD. And specifically, it's just the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, specifically the Letters from Jail song.
Really?
You couldn't find the email I asked you about, but fortunately I've got all these calls to back you up anyway. So you don't need to now.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
600 calls.
That's a lot.
I think my class size was only like 550.
You know what's so frustrating?
So there's some
underclassmen. There are times that I will take composite conversations.
I know.
And there are times that I do it. This isn't one of them. And it's pissing me off.
And yet you can't seem to produce the evidence.
1,000 people from my hometown that called just a few minutes ago and hate you so much.
Really?
I haven't heard from them in years.
You have to play one of those.
Yeah.
One of those calls for us.
No, I didn't record it.
Oh.
Pat, how many little people called you about this?
19.
19 little people.
Yes.
All called.
So the little people
None of them were in
not
the movie, though. None of them were
in the movie. And so here's what we're talking about. He says this, and I said, well, wait a minute. Name the movies that little people are like, oh, man, they're making this movie? That's fantastic. I'm an actor. I'm a Shakespearean. I'm a brilliant actor.
Right, and how many roles come up for them?
Right, it's not like you're going to see.
You got Santa Claus and the elves at the North Pole, right? You're gonna look for little people for that.
If you ever remake Wizard of Oz,
you need them there.
The Mike Myers, what was that? Austin Powers?
No, the Austin Powers mini-me thing.
You have the Lilliputian thing. You have
Gulliver's.
And you wouldn't know. No. You would use regular actors.
That's right, and just make them small.
Yep, so that wouldn't work.
So there's limited
movies. Limited roles.
I think we came up with like 7 yesterday. And they're like 7 movies, like 7 dwarf movies. Snow White is one of the 7 dwarf movies.
And it's a quintessential one.
And particularly Snow White because it's remade all the time. There's performances in stage theater with it.
But hold on just a second.
A lot of jobs.
Let's look at this.
They got to be pissed.
In the last year, there have only been 14 jobs for little people. And they've both been Snow White movies.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the Snow White movies, they use real, regular sized people. And what, shrink them down?
Some camera trick.
Oh, really? That's bizarre.
Yeah. They look like dwarves, but they're not. Wait,
what do you mean they look like dwarves?
They look small. They look like little people.
Okay, because there's a difference between a little person and a dwarf. They're sized differently.
Okay. What is the size of a dwarf?
No. You tell me you knew they weren't dwarfs. Well, you knew they weren't dwarfs. You said they were.
I know they're not dwarves.
Right. How?
Because they're not dwarves.
Because they're.
First of all, I've seen these particular people in other roles, and so I recognize their faces, and I knew they weren't little people.
I thought that would be one way to do it.
Right? I mean, that's all I can tell you.
So you're saying you're fighting for the... why are you pointing to your book, Cowards,
why are you
right now?
Cowards. What are you doing?
Because that was the most ridiculously politically correct answer I have ever heard.
Why?
Why? What do you think the true answer is?
Really?
Yeah, really. I've seen them in other roles. I have. I've seen these people. I recognize
Well, like
them.
who? Like who was the people?
I don't know their names. I couldn't
You don't know
the
their
shop
names.
by knowing
Tell
their
me
names.
one of the roles you've seen.
They were in the one of the roles was
Right.
the,
I've got
cinnamon
I've
roll.
got 40 people from my hometown right now that have written me and said you're lying.
What do you think? What do you think the correct answer is then?
The
Go
correct
ahead.
answer,
Let's hear it.
the correct answer. The answer is you can tell the difference between somebody who is sized small, like Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows he's like 5'1". Nobody knows because you shoot him. His hands are in the right proportion. His arms are in the right proportion.
Mm-hmm.
Little people are not in the right proportion.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding you.
This is the world we live in, where you can't say that. He's afraid to say that. It's true.
You don't know because when you don't sit here and talk about specific things every day, such as Snow White movies, there could be lines that you cross that you don't realize you're crossing. You're trying to make.
You're saying chink in the armor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look at that. That's a perfect example. It's a perfect
Chink in the armor,
example.
chink in the armor, chink in the armor, chink in the armor, chink in the armor.
Yes, I know you've said that multiple
Yeah,
times.
chink in the armor.
But that's
Said what? Chink in the armor?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's nothing
I
wrong
hate to
with
say chink in the armor.
It's not a phrase that is offensive.
Thank you. Are we trying to be offensive? Here's the thing on the Seven Dwarfs. Honestly, Hollywood.
Why weren't they?
Why weren't they dwarves?
Mm-hmm.
You can't find talented dwarfs and little people.
You know they can because
They have.
the other movies have and do all the time.
They're like, you got like, really? You have 7 movies and it's not a Santa Claus movie.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find. It's like the Santa Claus. What was it? One of the Santa Claus, maybe all of them were children. They weren't dwarfs. They were children.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but elves are not children. Now I know elves aren't dwarves, but I don't know exactly what elves are. But the elves are old. They're not children.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really? This is what you're doing, you pieces of garbage.
It is hypocritical.
Yeah,
It really
you know
is.
what it is? It's Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live. Who's playing Barack Obama right now?
A white guy.
Oh. Wait, what?
A white guy plays Barack Obama.
Yeah, Fred Armisen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing the Lone Ranger. You know who's playing Tonto?
No.
Johnny Depp.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not using a Native American?
No. No. Johnny Depp is one of the greatest
Good
character
actor.
actors. He's one of
Yeah,
the greatest
he's great.
character actors. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem watching old Charlie Chan movies and knowing he was a white guy and whatever. I get it. And if you're a great character actor, that's great. That's part of your craft. That is part of your craft.
If Johnny Depp playing an Indian, a Native American?
Yeah,
Why do you think?
Now,
why-
see,
wait,
in politically correct Hollywood, you would think that'd be absolutely
verboten. You can't find one Native American
Yeah.
that's a good actor?
Yeah, like Elizabeth Warren.
Good point.
Exactly
Get her
right.
to
She's
do
a
it.
great actor.
She's a great
She's a
actress,
great
and she's a
actor.
real
And
Native
she's-
American
yeah.
with high
If we
cheekbones.
And she's proud of her heritage.
If
proud.
we could shrink her down
Uh-huh.
to elven size,
She could play a Native American elf.
wouldn't that be great?
Be awesome. It'd be
Be the
awesome.
first Native American elf.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's an elf movie I'd like to see. I hope the good people of Massachusetts give her a time, give her real quality time to memorize those lines and work on that.
That's important because she's going to need time to, study and memorize and learn her craft and maybe practice a little bit because you know it's in her. You know it is in her. She just needs extra time.